Hey everyone, Alex, back on the YouTube channel, making another video. It's been about a month since I posted, I think. It's been really busy with life and other things and work. And I also just didn't feel called to make any videos because I try to make these videos when I feel like God's given me something to speak about. And then about 30 minutes ago, I was on my phone looking at some stuff and notes I had, and then all of a sudden I feel like the Lord spoke the words, "It's time to slow down." I'm not entirely sure if that's directly for me, but I do think that it is something that I should do anyway, so I'm going to work on slowing down. But for this video itself, I just wanted to speak about slowing down and what that looks like to me and what it may look like to you. This does kind of tie into like removing distractions, but it focuses more on just being present, being mindful, and being more aware of God's presence. Basically, He's closer than you think, despite how you may feel. And that's a big thing for me. I'm a feeler. I'm an emotional person. So, there are days where I definitely don't feel as close to God or like I can feel his presence, but that doesn't mean he isn't there at all. He's always there. He's omnipresent. He's everywhere. He's here with me right now. He's here with you as you watch this video. But just because you don't feel him does not mean he's not there. And I think it's so important to understand not only that, but that the way you feel does not dictate his existence. And his existence does not depend on how you feel. So always remember, and we all have bad days. We all have really bad days where we're just kind of thinking like, Lord, where are you? What's going on? But this is another reason to slow down. Because especially if you're an emotionally driven person, you can get caught up in your emotions. I know I do. And then I can start thinking about the same thing over and over and over and over. And then it kind of gets blown out of proportion within my own head. And then I'm reminded to slow down and tell my brain to chill, to think about this stuff logically. And then realize, okay, even if I'm feeling like this is going to pass. For one, it's going to pass. And then two, it doesn't, it matters how I feel. It matters how you feel. Of course, God cares about how you feel. But your feelings do not change anything about God. And those are also times to draw closer to him, even if you don't feel him. Even if you don't feel like you sense him, etc. It's still just so important to get present and to acknowledge your feelings. Honestly, I feel like the Lord really wants us to work on acknowledging how we feel. Because a lot of times we might think, I shouldn't feel like this. I should be a better Christian. I shouldn't feel this way. I don't need to bring that to God. He's got things going on. It's like, no. Slow down. Process how you're feeling. Come to the Lord. It's I don't want to say it's simple as that because it's not as simple as that, but at the same time it really is. Because we overcomplicate everything. He doesn't. We do. And it's so easy to get caught up in our life and with our desires that we forget to realize that the world will go on even when we take a break and pull away for a bit. And I feel like we do not do that enough. I know I certainly don't. It's hard for me to pull away from daily activities. It's hard for me to pull away from my phone, from being on YouTube, from watching TV, doing whatever, hanging out with friends, which there's nothing wrong with these things inherently. But, it's like we got to take it back to the start. Everybody's coming to Christ experience is different. Some people have a radical change. And all of a sudden, they can't get enough of the Bible. They can't get enough of prayer, of worship, of Jesus. And other people, it's not quite the same, It's subjective. But that doesn't make it any less valid. And it's so easy for us to get sucked into our daily rhythms. And sometimes it's really hard to develop a healthy routine where we don't feel like we're just going through the motions every day. I mean, full transparency, recently I felt like I've been going through the motions. I felt like I wasn't really hearing God. I had things going on where I needed answers, clarity, all that. Didn't feel like I was getting it. But I actually was getting it. I was just too busy thinking to myself and like expecting it to look or sound a certain way. And so the process of getting it was harder because I had a different expectation for what all that would look like and maybe sound like. But like I said, it's so important to pull away and take a break from things. Like you'll see other YouTubers that are really successful and they'll just disappear for a month. And then they'll come back and they'll be like, yeah, I had to just get away. Like their mental health, not all of them are religious or anything or Christian by any means, but you don't have to be a Christian to pull away and breathe, you don't. But knowing Jesus makes it tremendously better, honestly. But like I was saying, especially for me, it's really easy for me to get caught up in the motions, my routines, my habits. And it's easy for me to get stuck in cycles. Like, for instance, I read my Bible basically every morning, and I do 2 devotional books usually if I have the time. And I listen to a devotional on my phone called Lectio 365. Shameless plug for that. Get Lectio 365 if you don't have it yet. It's awesome. It's audible, and you can also read along, and people have different accents and everything. A lot of them are from the UK. It's an awesome app. Try it. And it's free. But there are so many times where I just want to be excited about reading my Bible. I want to be excited about reading my devotionals, but a lot of times I'm really not. I know some people that just they can't get enough of it. But me, I read it even if I'm not excited about what I'm reading, I know that reading it is good for my soul. It's good for my spirit. It's feeding me, even if I'm not oh, wow, this is changing everything for me. It's no, I'm going to read this because I need to read it, because it is feeding me and I'm learning, and I'll know more about the Bible. So I push through those things, but also realizing that whenever you have moments like that there's so much grace in it, because God knows, He understands that we're not always going to be these happy-go-lucky people reading the Bible every day, devotionals, praying, all those things that's. It's almost not realistic for most people. Like I said, there are some people that are just on fire all the time. But of course, behind closed doors, they also are a wreck. We're all broken people. And the only way we're healed and put together is by Jesus. But I think it's important to know that when you get in these cycles like I do, it's nothing to be ashamed of. It just means that, well, you're human. That's about it. It means you're human. And God understands. He's just glad that you're pressing in and reading the Word despite not feeling like doing it. Just like worshiping whenever you feel it, worshiping when you don't. I think that's part of one of Brandon Lake's songs. That always stuck with me, because there have been times I'm at church where I'm worshiping and other times where I'm man, I'm really not feeling this, but I'm going to praise you because you're worthy of my praise, because I love you. And despite how I feel, I'm still going to worship you because you are God. That's it. So I still do these things, but at the same time, it's okay to not read the Bible every single day. It's okay. Now, I would hope that you would work on that and at least be obedient when you feel drawn to read the Bible. But like, God isn't frowning at you when you miss a day. He's not. He still loves you. He still loves you so much. And I've had to go through this myself. I've had to learn and be like, okay, like it's okay if I miss today. I'm just very routine about things, and I don't like missing a day with certain things that I do. But I also know that I feel like that because I want to be with the Lord. I want to spend time with him. I want to feel him. It's like the heart posture, knowing that like you want to feel these ways about the Lord and experience these things. But this also comes back to, like, don't depend on your emotions. Don't depend on the good feeling to validate your faith or the existence of God. Like, I'm reading this Bible, I don't feel anything. God must not be real. This must not be real. This must be... No. I've never questioned the existence of God necessarily, but I've definitely questioned his nearness to me. All that stuff. I've questioned all that. But that's okay, because I took it to God and I said, hey, God, this is where I'm at. And I know you meet me where I'm at. So meet me where I'm at. I need clarity. I need your presence. I need your love. I need your peace. I need grace. I need grace more than most things. And so I think it's just really important to consider those things and give yourself grace when you're having off days. I have a lot of them. That's okay. It's okay to have an off day. It's okay to have an off month, off year. What God cares about the most is that you are still in communication with him and you keep coming back to him, even when you wander, when you stumble. So just keep going back to the Father, because he just loves you. That's all. He just loves you. He just wants you to be with him. And another part of this is recognizing when you feel like you are coasting instead of feeling planted and present. And I go through this a lot too. And I think it's so important to say you cannot force yourself to feel these ways. You cannot force yourself to be like planted or present necessarily. You can't force that. You can put yourself in a position to be in that like mental state, but you can't make it happen. Give yourself grace when you don't feel planted or present or like you're coasting. These are just the motions of being a human. Well, more so a Christian human, but for real, it's like this also ties into like striving, you know? You feel like you're having to do these things in order to get God's attention. You're having to do these things in order to feel his presence. You're having to do these things in order to feel his love. That's striving. We're not called to strive for his love or any of those things. We're called to receive his love. We're called to accept his love. We're called to receive his peace and his grace. We just get so caught up in what we don't feel. I know I do. But the good news is what we feel, like who God is, where God is, what God is, the love, all that stuff, none of that like matters. The way we feel does not change any of those things. It doesn't. And I think it's very important to know that. We're called to spend time with him. It's just that simple. We're called to spend time with God and enjoy our time with God. So, long story short, slow down.